Well, Illinois is a hot Senate race and a governor's race. There are also a lot of other hot races across the country that they say could potentially flip the Senate to the GOP. Election guru Larry SABATO'S crystal ball forecast at the University of Virginia Center for Politics says the odds are now breaking for the Republicans in 2 states and President Obama carried, Iowa and Colorado. But it also says that Kansas, though, might throw a monkey wrench into Republican hopes. Independent Greg Orman is leading longtime GOP incumbent Senator Pat Roberts there. 5 polls in the roll. So could the Senate flip? What's going to happen? Predictions now. Angela McClowan, Fox News political analyst, and Basil SMIKLE, Democratic political consultant and president of BASIL SMIKLE Associates. Angela, let me start with you. As President George H.W. Bush used to say, the big mo seems to be with the Republicans. Do you agree?
I agree that Republicans will take over the Senate. And talking about Kansas, it's an eternity away from Election Day. And the fact that Greg Orman, he doesn't really have name recognition. You have 11% of the voters there that are undecided. So if Pat Roberts actually educate voters that Greg was a Democrat in 2008 when he ran against Pat, also he supports the president on Obamacare, he supports gun control, and he was a contributor to the president, I think that Pat will do very well on Election Day.
Basil, that's a really wild race. I mean, the Democrat dropped out.
That's right.
Do you think that Roberts will pull it off in the end, or he'll be defeated?
I actually am not sure. I think it's going to be very, very close, but I think a lot of it hinges also on where voters think that Orman will caucus, whether he caucuses with Republicans or Democrats. And it's interesting because I don't know if he can actually feel comfortable caucusing with Republicans given the kinds of ads that were thrown against him. But I think it will weigh heavily in voters' minds just how much, where he'll actually caucus it. I think it's a question he'll have to sharpen as we get close to Election Day.
Yeah, that's really important when you talk about the Senate.
Yes.
I mean, Angus King, independent up in Maine, he caucuses with the Democrats,
right,
but has said if the Republicans take over the Senate, he may caucus with the Republicans. Angela, let's take a look at another state, Iowa, which has been solidly Democratic. Tom Harkin retiring there, and they thought the Democratic candidate would be a shoo-in, but man, oh man, latest poll shows Republican Joni Ernst pulling 6 points ahead of Bruce Bailey. She going to keep that lead?
She's going to keep that lead. She did a great job in the debate. And, you know, her opponent tried to go after her that she got money from the Koch brothers. But Joni went after her opponent saying that you've supported President Obama and you have liberals in California that are supporting you. And she put her opponent on the defensive. Eric, when you run a political campaign, you always want to put your opponent on the defensive, and he had to say that he was not going to owe Barack Obama anything. So I think she's going to do well.
Braley, I mean, Basil, what does this mean if Braley goes down? And what does it mean for Hillary Clinton in 2016? She was just there telling everybody, I'm back.
You know, it's interesting that you bring that up because I was going to say that I think part of why she went there, it may not just be about her ambitions in 2016, but also trying to reestablish a democratic infrastructure in the state where Ernst has sort of taken over the narrative. My guess is that Ernst will win that seat, and I think thank
you, Basil.
You're very welcome. That's my one little concession for the day. But it looks good. It looks good for her, and I do think for Democrats in 2016, Hillary Clinton or not, it's going to weigh very heavily on the infrastructure there to try to bring that state back to the Democrats.
Well, you just said that you think that the Republicans are going to win that state 2 weeks after Hillary, they staged that extravaganza. Bill Clinton was there. They're all holding hands. And Angela, what happened? They're turning on Hillary before she's even announced?
Well, I still think it's because of the failure of the Democrats when they control the House and the Senate, and the fact that we have an anemic economy, and you have candidates running, Eric, from this president like the plague. I mean, look in Colorado. Udall is behind. In 2008, it was Barack Obama, the first black president. He was a nominee at that time. He accepted his nomination in Denver. Now it seems like that Democrats are going to lose that state.
Are they running from the Democrats, Basil?
You know, it's here's my thing on this. I actually think that a lot of the candidates this year that should be adopting more of what the president has done, more of his success stories. They're running away from it.
What success stories?
Well, I think it's been a mistake. So, for example, they could be talking a lot more about Obamacare, but they're not. They're running away from
success.
it. Well, listen, I think it actually is, and I think it actually brings out more of the Democrats' base, but they're running away from it. I think they should be using Michelle Obama more in states like West Virginia and North Carolina and Georgia,
she apparently doesn't want to go out and do that.
Where you have a lot of women that actually can turn the vote for Democrats, but they're not doing that. They're using the Clintons a lot more. So I do see some of those errors that the White House is making in terms of getting the president out there. But I guess their calculation is he's not as popular as he could be. So
the only thing this president has been successful as is a fundraiser. Obamacare is a failure when it takes $8 billion to actually revamp the website again and again and again. Come on.
Angela, and he did kill Osama bin Laden. Angela and Basil, thank you
Good to be here.
so much. Shannon.